Hello, Father. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect. So I'm sitting down interviewing my dad, Michael O'Brien Sr., who is currently working at CAC Specialty. So what does a typical day there look like?
A typical day is I typically draw what I need to do that day, the night before. I have my list of things that I need to do, whether it be phone calls we made, meetings to go to, or to follow up from other prospects or clients that I've had from the previous day or previous week.
Wow. Well, yeah. Sounds pretty simple. I know there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than that, but just a question about the industry in general. So how has the insurance industry, if at all, evolved over the course of your career, and what changes would you anticipate in the future?
Well, I think a lot of the changes have been where there's been a lot of consolidation within firms or potential consolidation of firms and the expansion of a lot of different coverages, such as cyber insurance. You look at what's been going on with, you hear it on the news all the time about companies being hacked, et cetera. That's really evolved over the years, and I expect that with the more invention of technology as it advances, that we're going to have probably different coverages, or other firms might not be able to cover some of the losses within the cyber industry and might not be covered in the future. So it's going to be very interesting over the next 10 years.
So kind of on that same note, what are some of the challenges facing the insurance industry, and how does your company address them?
Well, we're a broker, so we're not an insurance company. So what we do is we go to the market on behalf of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say some of the things that have been happening that I think are going to be interesting for this year. Is that what the actual question is, now that I've explained what I'm a broker for?
Yeah.
We go to the market to try and get the best deal for our clients, period. And I think the losses that some of the insurance carriers have had over the years, whether it be with hurricanes or mudslides or landslides on both sides of the U.S., they've really taken a beating, especially during hurricane season. So I believe that some of those carriers are not going to be able to keep up with the claims and the losses that they have, and you'll find that those companies won't survive. And our job as brokers to find all their alternatives for them to make sure that our clients have coverage.
Yeah, understood. Thank you. So I know you've worked at a number of different companies in this industry, but how does CAC specifically just differentiate itself from its competitors? So what gives it more value to clients?
Sure, good question. So look, we've all come from some other organization. Most of us have at least 15 to 18 years experience. So within our industry, that means a lot. A lot of the people that we have that are going to be broking for you have been through a hard market, which a lot of people haven't. And the experience that we have and learning from the other organizations where we had, I'd say, 5 or 25,000 employees compared to what we have at 500 is really how specialized everyone is within their own line of coverage. So experience pays, and we really understand the market far better than most of our competitors do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Good to know. So can you speak on any particularly memorable or challenging projects you've experienced, just in your career in general or at CAC, whichever one comes to mind first?
Sure. There's one that's happening right now with a client of ours where legislation has been passed within this sector, which is in the education sector, and the types of claims that these organizations are going to face, no one could really ever get coverage for, ever. And we have found a way, our firm, that we can go and speak with these institutions now to say, look, there is an opportunity for all these lawsuits, both past and future. There's an insurance product for, which gives them at least the opportunity to defend themselves without having to pay any claims in the interim. So it's really kind of, I'd say, groundbreaking within the industry. And I'm anxious to see how it's going to work out because we haven't completely closed the deal yet. So fingers are crossed.
Fingers are crossed for sure.
Thank you.
So, what skills and qualities are necessary for a role in general and a leadership role in your industry?
Well, look, I think the most important thing in our industry is be able to communicate what we do, how we do it, and how we can deliver for our prospects and our clients. And I think that with also having the ability to really work with other individuals in the firm, everyone relies on somebody, depending on coverage, et cetera, and the deliverables that you need to do to actually support a client. So you've got to really be able to communicate and, as a leader, delegate certain things that you need to have done and know that the people that are working with you are going to deliver on your behalf. So it's one of those organizations where you really need to like the people that you work with, and you respect the people that you work with as well, and you find that teamwork really pays off. So I think that's probably the most crucial thing you have to do.
Yeah. Another question. Going back to CAC. So, what separates your position as executive vice president from other positions you've held?
Well, I think it's a little greater responsibility. I think there's more revenue that needs to be generated to the firm. And I think that comes with responsibilities that, from a new business production goal that we have, that I have to deliver more revenue than I did the previous years, as well as assemble a team that's locally here in the Chicagoland area. So I think it varies from role to roles that I've had in the past, where it was either just pure management, and that was it on managing sales representatives, or just being an individual contributor myself.
Two more questions for you. This is kind of going back to some of the other stuff you were mentioning about risk, but how do you and how does your company approach risk management, and what factors do you look for when addressing clients?
Well, I think when every organization has some similar risks and some different risks. So a banking client might have something that's completely different than say for instance, a casino. I think the advantage of what we do is getting really in depth of what the client's organization is structured and how it's structured, what competitive industry that they're in, how we can benchmark against their peers, and also look for, when we look at certain policies, because most people, unless it's a brand new organization, currently have policies that are already in place, we can go and do analytics and run several different reports on figuring what's the market condition versus the competitors, and quite frankly, look to see if there's any holes in the policies where they're at risk for any type of claim. So I think that's some of the things that separate us completely from our competitors.
It's very interesting. Thank you, Father. And then one final question. Just what advice would you give to a student wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
I'd say get very specialized into one area as quickly as possible. If it's property, be in property. If it's directors and officers, it's directors and officers. But if you are extremely good at one line of coverage, you'll always have a job. If you're that good at it, you will always have a job. So try and be as specialized as possible.
Good to know, Father. Thank you so much again for doing this. Anything else you want to say?
No?
All right.
Happy to help now.
Perfect. Thank you, Father. All right. Bye-bye.
Michael.